What's up everybody, Jesse here, or Game Over Jesse as you all may know me, and today I have two awesome guests here with me to talk about the recent Nintendo Switch Final Fantasy 15 news. Please welcome my friend John from the YouTube channel Spawnwave, and Brett from Nintendo and PlayStation Enthusiast. Today's news comes from the website Nintendo Life, where it has a quote saying, "During a Twitch panel at Gamescom, Tabata, who served as director on the game, said, 'You asked the question, what other things do we have planned in the future? We can't give you any complete solid details right at the moment, but for our policy writers, we very much do want to move out and do as much as we can with the game, with the franchise. There's another certain console out there people may be thinking of, sounds a little bit like you guys, your name Twitch. I think we'll just leave it there.'" And he goes on to say, "Everyone on Final Fantasy 15, they love the specific console that sounds a lot like Twitch. You may want to think something about that in the future." Had a few mess ups there. But yeah, so what are your guys' general thoughts on this? Because as we mentioned a little bit before we actually started the discussion, earlier this year, there was talks where they mentioned that they couldn't get Final Fantasy 15 running on the Switch. So do you think this is a hint that they've been tinkering with it, trying to optimize it to get it running as best as they could for the Switch? Or do you think it's a hint towards something else, Final Fantasy related, coming to the Switch?
Brett, you can go first, Brett.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, I think, I mean, I always look at the games on PS4, and I think would I rather have a worse looking version of this if I could take it anywhere I went with the Switch? And usually the answer is yes. I think that's most people who have a Switch. They're willing to deal with the graphical sacrifice just to have it on the Switch, which is a console loved by so many people already. It's like the opposite of the Wii U, pretty much. And so I think they probably got feedback on that, and I have a feeling it actually is Final Fantasy 15, the actual game. Probably some stuff added, some stuff probably taken away as well. But I mean, they've been trying to push this game with all the animated stuff and the mobile stuff, and the new game that just got announced, the Pocket Edition. Hopefully that's not the version that's going to be on Switch, but I think it's just going to be Final Fantasy 15 with maybe a different graphical style that's more artistic, cartoony, but I think it could still be cool.
Yeah. And what about you, John?
I mean, yeah, they probably could figure it out. I think there were a lot of problems when they were first trying to. That was a few months ago, right? That was like towards the beginning of when the Switch launched, I think. And
February 8th is when the article on IGN stated.
Yeah, it was even before then. So there's been a lot of problems leading up to it where there wasn't big enough carts at the time, because you'd have to do things like wait for, for example, a lot of people think NBA and the wrestling game coming out are kind of pushed back because they're waiting for bigger carts. And these carts are supposed to be 64 gigabytes. That could be an issue. It could also be they just didn't have enough time with the Switch then, and they had to really focus on Final Fantasy 15 on, well, the other consoles. All these updates are coming out, and now they're bringing it to the PC, so it seems like they have a little more time. Interesting that they're also partnering with NVIDIA, which has to do with the chip that's in the Switch as well. That's kind of interesting to think about.
Did they mention they were bringing it to the PC?
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15 is going to PC, and it's actually going to support up to 8K resolution.
All right, maybe that's why there's suddenly hope for it to come to the Switch, because if they're building it for the PC, you assume they have to create some lower resolution textures and stuff to let people run on lower settings. So
yeah. I mean, we've also heard really PC games seem to be easy to bring over to the Switch from what we're seeing right now. And if it's already being designed and really programmed for NVIDIA's stuff, like we're seeing, NVIDIA and Square kind of came out and announced Final Fantasy 15 together. The file size on it's 170 gigabytes though for the PC.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of large. Yeah, that's what they were saying. It's going to be full assets, full resolution assets and everything, which is going to take up a lot of space. But they could be talking about a spin-off. They don't necessarily need to be talking about Final Fantasy 15. I do think because of how well it's being received in Japan that a Japanese company like a Square Enix, for example, they're going to look at it and say, well, we need to get on this platform now. What can we do? Final Fantasy 15's kind of already done, obviously, and maybe they're just working on porting it to the Switch. They could do like super low resolution of like 540p upscaled to 720. There's a lot of stuff they could do.
The Breath of the Wild on the Switch, in certain areas it has dynamic resolution to where it natively runs at 720p, but if there's an intense scene, it'll drop down to like 600 something p or 540p or something like that. And the same with docked mode, it'll drop from 900p down to close to 720p while in docked mode. If they bring Final Fantasy 15 to the Switch, maybe they figured out some way to kind of isolate how large of the world it's rendering at one time, so it's not rendering as much of the world. Maybe they cut down on the enemies or the AI in the overworld. There's a lot of different things they could do aside from just tinkering with the textures and resolution to get it running on the Switch.
For sure.
Yeah. I will say, if they end up getting it on the Switch, that would be an amazing like technical achievement to have a game like that portably. That'd be pretty ridiculous. So
yeah, it would.
Yeah. So what do you guys think this means for future Square games on the Switch? Do you think if this comes out on the Switch, there could be a chance for the Final Fantasy VII remake or other main series Square games to come out on Switch?
I think Final Fantasy VII remake would be easier to run on the Switch than 15, to be honest. That's going to follow more along the path of like the kind of the closed corridor Final Fantasy VII, you know how that works. Whereas 15 is like this massive open, it's this massive open world. I think, and honest, Final Fantasy VII remake's also designed in Unreal Engine, so a lot of things really play in the Switch's favor with that game. So if they can figure out all the licensing agreements, I can see that game going to the Switch.
All right.
And hey, don't forget, Cloud was just in Smash Bros, so maybe they're still talking or something. I don't know.
Yeah, as a bit off topic, but in the same way that Nintendo has been partnering with a bunch of third parties to bring out certain like spin-off titles, we had Zelda with Hyrule Warriors, now there's Fire Emblem with the Hyrule Warriors team, or the Dynasty Warriors team. There's the spin-off Mario with Ubisoft. It kind of makes me hope that they somehow worked out a partnership with Square to where they'll actually make a true sequel to Mario RPG 2. I think that would be cool. Something a lot of fans would want, because as lenient as Nintendo's been with their characters, it seems like a no-brainer that they would do that, especially since they're so focused on bringing out so many different Mario RPG titles anyways. There's the Mario Luigi series, Paper Mario they released on the Wii U, so it kind of makes sense that Nintendo would want to go in that direction, and doing it with Square would be enough. Like, they could just sell millions of copies off nostalgia alone.
There's also, there's a possibility that they do make a Final Fantasy game, like you were mentioning, that has nothing to do with Final Fantasy 15, and it's just on the Switch. Like
like how Crystal Chronicles was on the GameCube.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not. Like, what was the?
Didn't they have like the WiiWare games that were like Final Fantasy or something?
Yeah, they had a Threat Rhythm too on the 3DS.
Oh yeah, that.
And
too.
then what was it? The Final Fantasy Worlds, I believe. The little chibi Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, something like that. Was that on 3DS?
I think so. Was it? Do you remember, John?
Which one? The really the small chibi one? I think that was on the.
I thought it was Vita and PS4.
Oh, you're thinking of World? Is that World of Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's on the Vita and the PS4.
Okay. There's the other handheld then. Yeah. But it could be something else. I think everyone is just hoping for Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch. In no way would it be the superior version to play, but it would be really fun to have it and take it on the go. Because Breath of the Wild right now, I think, is the closest to a full-fledged, open-world, massive game that you can take on the go.
Yeah.
Skyrim getting ready to come out like 5 or 6 years ago when the game first launched, and you had to use really expensive PCs to play it on max settings. Now you're going to have that exact same experience on the go. So the thought of that is really interesting. And
even if Final Fantasy 15 did release on Switch, they could do sort of like what Bethesda's doing, and like throw in like little like amiibo support and like little like nods to Nintendo stuff throughout the game. just to make it like different.
Yeah, I think
People actually want to buy it again.
they like that. That's something that would get, like, for example, my little brother, he has absolutely no interest in like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls game, but the fact that you're able to dress like Link made him instantly want to play it. And I think something similar with this game, because they had Square's Monster Hunter games, they had Nintendo costumes that you could put on before, so it would kind of make sense that you'd be able to use some sort of Nintendo outfits with Final Fantasy 15. I don't think any of the guys are going to be dressing up like Samus, but it would be interesting to see them.
You could do something with their car too, though. The car they drive around, they could do something with that even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember how I'm using like Metal Gear on 3DS. They like randomly put like Yoshis throughout the world. I thought that was funny.
I must have missed that. Was that
they
Snake Eater?
They had a Mario and Yoshi in his office too. If you looked around after you saved Otacon, they had a Mario and a Yoshi up on his desk.
And this was Snake Eater for the 3DS?
This was Twin Snakes for the GameCube.
Oh, okay. The game.
Yeah, going back a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, it was Snake Eater, the one I was mentioning.
Oh, okay.
3DS.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it then. Do you guys want to go ahead and give yourselves another shout out where they could find stuff? You didn't mention your own YouTube channel. Do you have one, Brett?
It's just the PlayStation Enthusiast YouTube channel.
Enthusiast.
That's pretty much where I do everything. Like I do stuff on like Nintendo Enthusiast, like mainly just editing videos, but I'm not actually in them. Whereas PlayStation Enthusiast, I write, edit, and star in pretty much almost every video. Do
you have a podcast or anything that you could give a plug to?
Yeah, we could. Oh, if anyone out there likes Telltale games like The Walking Dead and Batman and stuff like that, me and my buddy do a Talking Telltale podcast. That's on iTunes and on YouTube. So that's pretty much the only podcast that I'm still doing that's actually happening. It's like semi-weekly, but not really.
All right.
But aside from that, PlayStation Enthusiast YouTube, I just started doing like remote play reviews for Vita. I know the Vita has a really niche audience, but if you like the Vita, then you should definitely go subscribe.
All right. And how about you, Spawnwave?
Well, you know me. I'm Spawnwave over on Spawnwave Media. You can check me out whenever. I'm pretty much every day videos go up, so you can come on by and check them out.
What's up, everybody? Game Over Jesse here, and if you enjoyed this video and are into awesome nerdy geeky content like we are, consider subscribing to Geek Fuel, a monthly subscription box that is guaranteed to have over $50 worth of great stuff in every box. You'll receive an exclusive shirt, games, collectibles, and other geek-related greatness. Use the link geekfuel.com/GameOverJesse to not only get $3 off of your subscription, but to help out our channel as well, which means more time to work on more videos for you guys. If you enjoy the videos on my channel, please consider subscribing, checking out my second channel focusing on movies and TV shows, and my Patreon where you can join in as a guest in upcoming videos, watch new videos first, you can have me join in and collaborate on videos for your own channel, have custom artwork or custom avatars made of yourself or for your channel, and much more.